Welcome to another season of Coop Dreams. After 8 years, we've still got the farmhouse, plenty of land around the farmhouse, and a host of farm animals. Chickens, turkeys, rabbits, goats, cows, bees, and one very loud guinea. We also have a cat, William Wallace. He's our farm manager, and he also oversees security. So keep joining us, laughing and learning, right here on Coop Dreams.
Last time on Coop Dreams.
The guys from Stock Cropper came to the farm to deliver one of their prototype automated chicken tractors to try out in the lower cow pasture. I didn't know what to expect and was amazed by the size of this machine. It looked so much smaller online. They unloaded it off the flatbed trailer with no problems. Then Zach went over some of the principles of the design.
And so the concept of Stock Cropper was how essentially can we take a 4-ring animal circus and put it in the middle of a cornfield. And then now as we're transitioning into some other markets, backyard, homestead, how can we take the same principle of diversity of livestock but maybe gear it down for smaller applications as well.
They called the center housing the barn, with pens for livestock in the front and chickens in the back.
The barn is designed so that you can easily get in without having the animals easily get out. And so we didn't want people having to climb up over, but a simple step over. You can stay in front of the animals in case you get a goat that gets squirrely, and then you can simply, if you need to get in, in case, right? But also it's built tall enough with a 4-foot height that we've never had a goat or a sheep actually jump out of this.
Well, I'll introduce you to Morgan. And maybe it's a jumper.
And maybe we'll be challenged today.
But I do think, I don't know if this is in there, that could be a preventative from them jumping. They visually see that, and it's not as easy for them to get out. We discussed various aspects of sheep or goats in the front pen, and Zach continued to take me through various features.
Next we have here the central barn, and the central barn is here for the purpose of sheltering the animals so that they've got a place to go out and get out of the wind or inclement weather. But it's also how we do a lot of other things. It's how we power the barn. So we have 2 solar panels on top, and we have 2 24-volt batteries contained inside the inner workings of the barn here as well. So as long as the sun is out, we have ample amount of power to move this thing as much as we want during the day.
We eventually made it around to the chicken side. There were a few gap areas we discussed for ground predator protection, and there were protective panels and netting for aerial predators as well as for providing shade. The design made it super easy to get in and out of the pen areas.
So if we need to get in here and shore the birds, you can see we've got our water drinkers that are tied in, they're just gravity fed down here. If we need to feed the goats, we've got our lid on our feeder, we slide that back, we can fill the goat or the sheep feeder up. And we didn't, since we were traveling today, we didn't bring our feeders that would hang in here normally to stay off the ground. But they would just mount to the steel hardware here.
And I can, if I want to, I can make little roosting bars in here if I want to go more with the layers. And like you said, I could put nesting boxes and attach them to the side.
You can do that, but when we get to that point, we're going to have all those options. We'll just have a catalog of what options do you want on your Cluster Cluck, and we'll have all of that stuff ready so when you buy it, it's set up to go.
Cluster Cluck, is that what it's called?
Yeah, this is called the Cluster Cluck Nano. When you invent a 4-ring animal circus on wheels, you got to have a name.
That's right. Can we see it in action?
Yeah.
Get this thing fired up. It moves slowly by design, and generally, in actual use, we'll only need to move 8 feet at a time. Zach moved it completely to the grass to show how well it sits and moves on a vegetative area. So you'd move it 8 feet every time, which is about one of these sections.
Yes, the barn is 8 feet deep, the chicken pen is 8 foot deep, so this is a 24-foot pen tip to pen tip barn.
So grazing here, then it moves, and then the area that they graze becomes their barn.
Correct.
The chickens are in what was the barn.
And then it goes back to recovery. Yep. So we want to impact things for a short period of time. intense impact and then move on, let things regenerate. So what we're gonna do here is just demonstrate how quickly the barn moves an 8-foot movement, which is the length it would do if it was in autonomy. So.
It was then my turn to give it a try. Another good reason for it to move slowly, crashing is highly unlikely.
So, I want to say, yeah, this is backwards, so L2 is backwards, right 2 is all wheels moving in the same direction.
And these are?
And that's just, so it's, think of it like a skid loader, so if you want to spin it, one ahead, one back. We've got this pen down, so we don't want to spin it like this right now, but, and then, or if you're going ahead, steer one side, and then kick the other one in, let it off so that it turns a little bit, then together. So that's. Yeah, go ahead and jack them up, Juice. Do the other one too. All right, we should be good now.
Did you just buy a bunch of these, or did you buy the actual games and then rewire these?
No, you can just buy them off Amazon for 60 bucks. We've left one out in the rain and wrecked it and had to get a new one, so.
Oh, you got the panel?
Yeah, but go ahead and do it. I want to see what it does.
Okay, you tell me when it's too far.
We're okay. I think we're all right. Yeah.
Well, that is pretty easy to drive.
Pretty simple.
Well, oh, it's up, right? So I can pivot. We headed down to have a look to where the Cluster Cluck would be going in the cow pasture. In here was where I'm looking to put the chicken tractor, by the way. But first, felt I had to disclose the competitive nature of my handiwork.
Yeah.
Oh, and see, the goats, or the cows, have been, that was my movement arm, and I put wheels in there. The cows have been using this to scratch themselves, so now they broke my first model.
No, we have similar contraptions, yeah. 100%.
Well, I've lost all respect for you.
We've gone to auctions and bought wheels and tires off lawnmowers just like this, haven't we?
Junkyard, that was mine.
Junkyard, yeah. Because some of it we did do some initial prototypes just to see the concept before we, took it to hard steel. But it's not easy. There's a lot of things you have to, especially with chickens and having a tight seal to the ground. That's one of the most important things. And I have some features in my head that I want to, the next iteration that we have this winter, we're going to have some additional features to keep predators out, automatic predator aprons and such that we're going to cook up.
Well, if you want to take any pictures and use some of this for the next design model.
I'm sure he's already got it locked in mentally. So
now, when we first started talking, is when I'm like, do I really need to finish this? Because the roofing, like the roofing in the first chicken coop that I built back in the chicken yard, our neighbor just threw some steel roofing down the hill. So whenever I need roofing, I just go up there and get it. I'm not at that phase in my prototype yet. Prototype, prototype. Would it function in an area like this?
Yeah, it would be fine. The only concern would be where it is a little bit more uneven from the cattle being across it is making sure that we would have that rubber seal on the bottom of the chicken pen.
Or it would be lowered at night. I'd lower it at night.
You could lower it at night.
And then just have to raise it.
Yep, and then just raise it up.
With the green light for using the cow pasture, we got the poultry pen and the motorized barn back on the trailer. These were followed by the livestock pen, which fit perfectly on the back. I rode with Zach the long way around the farm, the same way we did for the cow barn and when we brought Weston the bull to the pasture for breeding with Elsa. As we approached the gate, The cow's response was to turn and run for cover. We hadn't done any measuring for getting it through the gate.
Like it was meant to be.
With the livestock pen in, we knew the rest would fit no problem. Since the scary truck was off and out of the way, the cows were now much more curious and came in for a closer inspection of the foreign items being brought into their yard.
I'm gonna drive it ahead a little bit.
I'm sure they were hoping and wishing that it was some sort of feed and hay dispensing system.
Down there so we don't get hung up. Is this where you want it started over here? Okay.
It didn't take long to reconnect the two pens, and once done, Zach was ready to turn it over to me and be on his way.
All right, turn the keys over. You just keep it.
Batteries, right, or no?
No, the power source comes from when you plug it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The Cluster Cluck looks good in the cow pasture. I can't wait to get goats and chickens in it for a trial run, but I had a new beehive getting delivered any day, so that would have to wait. I came across a new style of insulated beehive that I was interested in trying out for better success at winter survival. With no surviving colonies from last year's beekeeping efforts, we only had the wild swarm I caught, which seemed to be doing well. I contacted the family-owned company, and Corin, the son and an engineer, agreed to come to the farm to showcase the hive. When he arrived, I was eager to learn and chatted him up a bit in the barn for a little bit more of a background on this hive. Yeah, so you were born in Turkey.
I was born in Turkey.
And how old were you when you moved over?
21.
Okay, so you'd grown up with bees.
I've grown up
Did you have an interest in it? You know, because sometimes like your dad's into something, the kid's like, I'm not going down that road.
Well, I love the bees. Okay, so we have pictures of like holding the frames when we were like, my sister and I were like 3 years old and holding a frame.
In bee suits?
No.
With bees all over?
No, it's on our website actually, with bees all over them. I'm holding it. I'm not sure if it's like a stress smile or an actual smile because I don't remember that time. But we have always been around bees. I got pictures of me dipping my hand in a honey jar. It's just, I like bees. It's been a part of our lives. And the thing is, when my dad came home, you know that like bee smell? It's the smell, the smoke, the bees, like a little wax, and it's just like, so when my dad comes home, like he had that smell. So basically the bee smell for me is like family smell. It's like dad is home, he's back, like, so.
That is so cool.
It is.
Because that'll be with you forever.
Exactly. And whenever I get that like mixed like wax, honey, smoke, propolis smell, it's just like, it smells like family. It smells like home.
Because you guys are worldwide now.
Correct.
Okay. So a couple things I'd love to do. I'd love for you to take a look at my AZ hive, my laying hive. Give me your thoughts. Any red flags you see in the way that we do things with either of those two hives. Now, we've lost both of those colonies, so both of those are empty. And then would love to have you explain the bells and whistles and features, because I look at this hive and my brain puts together what every piece is, but there are purposes that I'm looking at, and I'm like, I need to understand what that's for and why it went that way. So
sounds like
let's go take a trip out to the bee yard.
Let's do it.
All right, so let me show you. So this hive hut here. So see up on the stand, that's one of the AZ hives. It's freestanding. This hive hut was made to hold 3 of them. You can imagine you're not allergic to bees, so.
My mom is.
Really?
Yeah. My dad's allergic to pollen actually, so he's miserable, but he just loves bees.
Yeah.
So this is the one that survived?
This is the swarm that I caught and put in here. We had that one going and the laying going as well.
What kind of bees do you have?
Oh boy. Well, those things have leaned in. This is the swarm, so I don't know what these are.
Oh, so you didn't requeen it?
What do you mean requeen it? I'm new to beekeeping.
Okay, introduce a new queen that you know the origin of. We have to requeen all our bees in Arizona if we ever catch a swarm, because we have a huge Africanized bee problem. And they split and swarm like crazy. So it is very likely that 99% of the swarms that you catch in Arizona, they're Africanized, and they are very defensive. I don't like to use the word that aggressive. They're very defensive because they're super hardworking. They harvest a lot, and their efficiency is remarkable, but they're also very protective of their colonies. That means that they will bother everyone that's going to be rather close to the hive. So to make sure that we can do beekeeping in the city or in Arizona, what we do is like we introduce usually an Italian queen. We kill the queen of the swarm that we catch and introduce a new queen, Italian queen. So in about 2 months, this entire colony becomes an Italian colony. We tell people that like if you see 80% of the frames full, you either add another box on top or you start splitting it, because the bee's tendency is to just constantly grow, and they don't know that you can add another box. So, which you can with a Langstroth hive, which is not really possible.
Right. So this would be a red flag for you, in that this is likely a hive that
will swarm.
colonies will grow out of.
Exactly. You need to split this.
Okay.
Sooner or later, probably sooner.
In my mind, it would have to be later. But we did talk some more about splitting and introducing a new queen. Then we came back around to looking at my setup. All right, so over here I've got my laying, and a couple questions that I had on this is, are these two close? Is that one going and these two going? We had a laying, the AZs. Do you see anything in this setup that you'd say, I'd move it,
Honestly, it's just like, in terms of working, if you're going to be working on this hive, you're blocking this hive. So you don't want to block a hive. That's one of the reasons, like that's, first of all, the first thing I noticed. It's just like, you don't want to be working on this hive while just blocking the flight path, and they're going to disturb you, and just, it's not going to be an easy, like fun experience for you. But
you'd recommend this, move this out so that there's not a block.
Work.
But now that it's empty, I can move it and restart this one.
Start at a new place. Exactly.
All right. Now I want to see your hives.
All right.
So now there's two here, two different ones. This brown one and this white one. What are the initial reasons why you'd get this one over this one, or this one over this one?
Okay, so this is a 10 frame hive. In the US, there are two standards, usually like 10 frame or the 8 frame hives. And the main difference between the two is the weight. It becomes about like 50, 60 pounds whenever they're filled with bees and honey. So it is rather hard to lift them. So a lot of beekeepers that do not want to lift much prefer the 8 frame ones. And our actually hives, they have the same inner dimensions, so you can use your existing wooden like boxes over there and put them right on top of this one and continue using it.
Oh, so you could use the laying, you could just continue to stack that.
Exactly. So the inner dimensions of this and this is the same as your wood hive. But because our hives have insulation on them, they have thicker walls, and therefore like the overall size is much larger than the wood hive. But the inner dimensions, they're the same.
So you talk about insulation. Why the insulation?
Insulation.
Is that for the heat or the cold?
Both. Just like your thermos doesn't know that if you got iced tea in it or a hot coffee, its whole purpose is to keep the temperature inside the same as it was.
That's a great analogy.
So
that's a great analogy.
So it's just like in the winter, the bees will make a cluster, and they will make sure that like they eat the honey, and they'll buzz a little bit and make sure that they keep themselves warm. So they create their own little heat source, but it's like their body heat. It is their body heat, and there's a constant penetration of cold. So the heat or the cold will penetrate a lot harder, and your bees will consume a lot less food, and they can survive harsher or longer winters. So whenever there is a cold snap or like a cyclone or something, and it suddenly goes to negative 40 degrees, it's going to take a lot longer time for it to penetrate through the walls, and the bees will be able to maintain the inside temperature and maintain their warmth for longer. It's just like having dual pane windows or insulation in your house, because they have a limited source. They gathered all the honey during the summer. You took some of them, so you left them some. You should leave them some. Make sure you leave the resource, and then you expect them to survive all winter with whatever is left.
Next week on Coop Dreams.
The Apimaye hive looks good and has a lot of features that I feel will help me with my beekeeping. Next, we're gonna have to get some bees to try it out.
To watch episodes on the go, be sure to download the Coop Dreams app. And for even more fun, like Coop Dreams on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and visit our website at www.coopdreams.tv.
Is there a plan for all these other buttons?
No. Well, there could be. I mean, when we put the rocket launchers on, we'll need a button to hit.
Yeah, hit it twice to go faster.
It kind of feels like when you're leaving your firstborn at college a little bit, which I got to do in 4 weeks. So.
Where are they going?
My oldest going to Iowa State, and my youngest just made the decision. They're 14 months apart, so tuition, bang, bang. She's going to Iowa State too, anyways. So.
Our R value is really close to 7, 6.93 to be exact, because I'm an engineer. I'm not going to say they're bear proof, they're quite bear resistant.
That's impressive.